listening to this video, and she was talking about how some people they have preconceived notions, and then they let that change how they receive word from God. And I prayed about what to do, and He led me to reading the Bible and opening to a bit about King Ahab. And so I'm going to read some of that, and this is an NIV version. All right. 1 Kings 22:4. So he asked Jehoshaphat, trying to move the camera at the same time as reading this. So he asked Jehoshaphat, "Will you go with me to fight against Ramoth Gilead?" Jehoshaphat replied to the king of Israel, "I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses." But Jehoshaphat also said to the king of Israel, "First seek the counsel of Yahweh." So the king of Israel brought together the prophets, about 400 men, and asked them, "Shall I go to war against Ramoth Gilead, or shall I refrain?" "Go," they answered, "for the Lord will give it to the king's hand." But Jehoshaphat asked, "Is there not a prophet of Yahweh here whom we can inquire of?" The king of Israel answered Jehoshaphat, "There is still one man through whom we can inquire of Yahweh, but I hate him because he never prophesies anything good about me, but always bad. He is Micaiah, son of Imlah." I also want to point out the thing down here, the text, it talks about how the 400 prophets may have been the 400 Asherah priests, and that's like Astaroth, Astarte, that's the Trinity again. And Jehoshaphat knew there was a difference between the prophets, these pagan ones that he called, and the prophet of Yahweh. So he asked if another one was available. Evidently, Jehoshaphat wanted to do what was right, although Ahab didn't. However, both kings disregarded God's message and listened only to the pagan prophets. All right. "The king should not say that," Jehoshaphat replied. So the king of Israel called one of his officials and said, "Bring Micaiah, son of Imlah, at once." Dressed in their royal robes, the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, were sitting on their thrones at the threshing floor by the entrance of the gate of Samaria, with all the prophets prophesying before them. Now Zedekiah, son of Kenana, had made iron horns, and he declared, "This is what Yahweh says, with these you will gore the Arameans until they are destroyed." All the other prophets were prophesying the same thing. "Attack Ramoth Gilead and be victorious," they said, "for Yahweh will give it into the king's hand." The messenger who had gone to summon Micaiah said to him, "Look, as one man, the other prophets are predicting success for the king. Let your word agree with theirs and speak very favorably." But Micaiah said, "As surely as the Lord lives, I can tell him only what the Lord, that is Yahweh, tells me." When he arrived, the king asked him, "Micaiah, shall we go to war against Ramoth Gilead, or shall I refrain?" "Attack and be victorious," he answered, "for Yahweh will give it into the king's hand." The king said to him, "How many times must I make you swear to tell me nothing but the truth in the name of Yahweh?" Then Micaiah answered, "I saw all Israel scattered on the hills like sheep without a shepherd. And Yahweh said, 'These people have no master. Let each one go home in peace.'" The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "Didn't I tell you he never prophesies anything good about me, but only bad?" Micaiah continued, "Therefore hear the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, with all the host of heaven standing around him at his right and his left. And Yahweh said, 'Who will entice Ahab into attacking Ramoth Gilead and going to his death there?'" One suggested this, and another that. Finally, a spirit came forward, stood before Yahweh, and said, "I will entice him." "By what means?" Yahweh asked. "I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets," he said. "You will succeed in enticing him," said Yahweh. "Go and do it." So now Yahweh has put a lying spirit in the mouths of all these prophets of yours. Yahweh has decreed disaster for you. Then Zedekiah, son of Kenana, went up and slapped Micaiah in the face. "Which way did the spirit from Yahweh go when he went from me to speak to you?" he asked. Micaiah replied, "You will find out on the day you go to hide in an inner room." The king of Israel then ordered, "Take Micaiah and send him back to Amon, the ruler of the city, and to Joash the king's son, and say, 'This is what the king says, put this fellow in prison and give him nothing but bread and water until I return safely.'" Micaiah declared, If you ever return safely, Yahweh has not spoken through me." Then he added, "Mark my words, all you people." I felt it necessary to put this up in case someone out there is feeling word from the Spirit and they're not testing the spirits. Please always test the spirits. You don't have to listen to me about anything. Always pray for discernment. And do this for every single other person you meet who tries to tell you something. Pray for it while you read the Bible. Always stay close to Yahweh. Pray for His Holy Spirit to guide you. In Yahshua's name, pray always.